Hi everyone, David MacDonald here from Vitality Fitness Calgary. You're tuning into another episode of Q&A Thursday, where you ask us your questions and we give you answers. So this week we got a question from Rochelle, and Rochelle asked, is it possible for one leg to be stronger than the other? Okay, and this also coincides with, one arm or one limb. So it is possible for that to happen, and for most people, they actually do have one side that's going to be a little bit stronger than the other. That's going to really depend on many things. So for the majority of us, the side that is more dominant, so if we're right-handed or left-handed, that's typically going to be the stronger side. Okay? But what we don't want is we don't want the difference to be significant. So some people that are working out, or they're getting back into training, or maybe they've never worked out before, some people actually have a significant difference from side to side. And that can come down to many things. Sometimes it's a byproduct of injury, maybe a past injury, maybe they blew their knee out and their left side had to take more of the stress and more of the load, and their right side has greatly atrophied and decreased in strength. So as a result, they're much stronger on this side. Okay, so that's one possibility, an injury. We typically see that with shoulder injuries, where someone has injured a shoulder, significant difference on one side with pressing, curling, even things like rowing, push-ups, depending on the shoulder injury. That can significantly impact whether or not one side is stronger than the other. And then other people, especially those who are more inactive, they've just gotten into a pattern of sedentary lifestyle and inactivity, and the dominant side is very dominant and it's taken over, and their other side has little to no strength. So sometimes it's a matter of just being inactive and not working one side of the body and working the other side of the body too much, just in day-to-day repetitive activities. So it's very common that we'll have people who come in here, clients that come in here, and they're much stronger on one side, and that's not due to an injury, but it's due to the fact that they're just inactive and they do everything on one side. So again, it goes back to just being dominant. So it's not a big deal to be stronger on one side than the other. For most of us, there's going to be a slight variation. Where the challenge comes in is where we start to have significant variations from side to side. A significant variation, I would think, would be something where if you can complete more than 2 reps with the same weight on one side. So if I was doing a lunge, or I was doing a bicep curl, and say on my right side, I could keep going and complete maybe 2 or 3 more reps, but on this side I'd be fully fatigued. That can be a problem, and that can be a challenge, because then we can start overloading one side, we can start overcompensating with one side of the body, which could create an injury down the road. Same thing with the lower body. If you're doing a split squat or a lunge, and you can pump out maybe 3 or 4 more on one side, and this other side is completely taxed, it doesn't have anything left, that can create a problem. So to mitigate that, if you do have that much of an imbalance, there's a couple things you can do. One is you can start doing work that's more focused on one side, okay, on the weaker side, so you can start strengthening that more with single leg or single arm work. So if you have one side that's just weaker, you can start doing work that strengthens that one side. Maybe it's a one arm shoulder press, or a lunge on one side, a split squat on one side, maybe a bicep curl on one side. So that's a very simple way of correcting this issue. The other thing you could do is you could go see a health professional that specializes in these things. Maybe a chiropractor, maybe a massage therapist, maybe a muscle activation therapist. Maybe you're just not getting good mind-muscle connection to that area, to that side of the body. There could be a reason behind that. You're not getting good nerve flow to the muscles on one side. So that can significantly impact your strength on that side. And you might be getting really good mind-muscle connection and good nerve flow to the other side, which is why you're stronger on certain exercises on one side. So that's another thing to consider, but to go back to the question, yes, it's absolutely possible to be stronger on one side than the other. There's many reasons why that could be. What I would recommend is doing some single leg or single limb work on that weak side to see if you can strengthen it. If it's a byproduct of strength, we just need to strengthen that one side. Working one side more than the other, so working the weak side more, could be beneficial, because if we work both sides at the same time, you might increase in strength, but you're always going to have that differential where you're going to have the stronger side and the weaker side. And even as you increase in strength on both sides, that differential is always going to be there, because strength is going to increase, but you're always going to be weaker here, stronger here. So we got to get this guy up to here so we're increasing evenly. So that could help, but you could also go see a health professional that specializes in this stuff: a chiropractor, massage therapist, muscle activation therapist. So it's a good question. Thanks so much for asking, Rochelle. If you guys have any more questions you want posted, you want us to answer, post them on our Facebook page, post them underneath this video when we post it up to Facebook. You can also reply or comment on our YouTube video on our YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon.